Hey folks, it's Wednesday night and time for some social media news on Tech News Nightly, your source of technology news. I'm your host Ray, and let's get started. The Verge reported Twitch, the live streaming video game website, would be launching a Twitter competitor. Named Pulse, it is an updating feed that collects photos, images, and text from Twitch users. Basically, it looks and feels like Twitter, but it isn't. And to be really honest, I don't think it will be. The reason for this is unless you are a gamer or someone that just hangs out on Twitch to watch other people play video games, you're not going to know or care how to get to this platform. So to call this a competitor to a solid social media platform is kind of a ridiculous and a downright insult to both sites. Now, Twitch is a place for gamers to interact with other gamers. They use it to highlight their skills, teach others, and make money doing what they do best. Some of you may not realize there is a small subset of Twitch streamers that are dedicated and good enough to use Twitch as a significant source of income. Now, Twitch isn't trying to compete or replace Twitter. They are trying to keep users and streamers active, even while they aren't participating in a broadcast. With Pulse, they have the ability to post status updates, highlight clips, and even talk crap to each other. Now, I don't think that Pulse is going to replace or disrupt Twitter at all. What I do think is that gamers that live stream their gaming abilities now have a place that allows them to interact with each other. It also keeps them exclusively within Twitch, and Twitch will probably use this to their advantage later. It also shows that Twitch understands their consumer, and they're trying to expand the site to allow them to be a one-stop shop. Folks, I've talked about this over and over and over. The whole purpose for these large social media websites is to keep you there. If you build it, they will come. Twitch is on their way to doing that. Facebook does it. Twitter does it to a certain extent. There's a lot of talk out there that Twitter is going down, that they are eventually going to just crumble and fall. I don't know about that yet. I see them going in a downward spiral, but I wonder if they'll be saved. Now, you can find more on this story at NYMag or NewYorkMagazine.com. Now, let's move from gaming to dating. Gaming to dating, right? Some of you might think it's the same thing. So Tinder is operating members-only version of the platform called Tinder Select. Apparently, this version only serves the elite users of the app. Now, when I say elite users, I mean CEOs, supermodels, celebrities, and other upwardly affluent types, if you will. Now, Tinder has invited people to the platform, and some of those people are allowed to nominate others. The catch is, if you're nominated, you can't nominate anyone else. So basically, Tinder is trying to keep this layer limited to members only and some plus ones. Now, the booger not math used to determine which users get nominating power is still unclear, but it seems that the one thing they all have in common is they are generally attractive and relatively high profile. This so reminds me of the Family Guy episode where Peter gets plastic surgery. I don't know if you guys watch Family Guy, but if you remember this one, Peter gets plastic surgery and he joins the club for pretty people. I never will forget that because they kicked Chris out because he wasn't pretty, and Peter just looked at him and went on in the club. I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, I digress. Tinder Select users are able to switch back and forth between the Tinder for uglies and the Tinder for pretties. That's what I'm calling it now. Because apparently you have to be pretty to be in the Select. This allows the Tinder for the pretties to have a smaller pool for users in certain markets. So if you're on Tinder and not asked to come over to Select, well, I guess now you know how pretty you are to Tinder. If you didn't know, this isn't the first time a dating app has tried to cater to its top users. Raya, R-A-Y-A, which only allows people with massive Instagram followings or cool and creative jobs and references from the Raya community, has flown under the radar for a couple of years now. And also Bumble is relaunching its VIB or its VIB or its verified tier from last year, which rewards users that swipe thoughtfully and are generally responsive. Bottom line is this. This is just a way to keep the elite with the elite. Now, I don't have a dog in the fight and couldn't care less what goes on with these people. But this kind of makes me feel like a class war in dating. You know, when you start segregating a people by their looks, folks, we've seen this before. There are people in this country that have lived this and still live this to this day. Now, maybe not as harsh as what we've done in the past, but it still smells of it to me. Anyway, you can find more on the story over at msn.com. Just look up the story Tinder Select and you'll find it. Okay. You know what? It seems like I can't do an episode without mentioning Facebook. I can't do an episode without having Facebook in there. Once again, Facebook has made the news headlines, and I had to pick one of three, I think, today. I think I picked the right one, to be honest. Just to let you know, I don't really care that Harvard is going to give King Zuckerberg an honorary degree to go talk. I don't care, so that story will never be on here. But what I did think was cool was this story right here. Now, let me start this story by saying that every time you click on a link on the interwebs, you're giving away personal information. If you don't know that, you might want to look into it. Big companies buy and sell your data all the time, and you have no clue that it's going on. Now, okay, wait a minute. You probably know, but you don't know who or when or even why. I found a story today that is going to tell us how to see which Facebook advertisers have your data from Facebook. This is kind of cool. Now, for some of you that don't know, some of you might know this, but for some of you that don't know, Facebook has long had an expansive knowledge on how to target very specific groups for advertising. And I've told you before that this is how they put ads in your timeline. Now, it is based on your user preferences, your demographics, and habits. We all have those, just to let you know. You can't shake them. You can't take anything to get rid of them. They're all there. Well, there's a way to see who is targeting you, and you can find out if they have your contact information or not. Yeah, like your address, phone number, stuff like that. For years, Facebook has allowed you to download archives of their information. As it was limited to what you were allowed to see in the past, it has made some drastic changes over the recent years. And now you can see things like your mobile connectivity quality or events that you've attended, which is kind of cool, really, but also kind of creepy. Last year, they started allowing you to see what data is being used to show you ads. Now, I'm going to tell you how to do this. Now, let me caveat this a little bit. I'm not an expert in any way. If this doesn't work, well, you can blame it on Shaughnessy Farrow from Mental Floss. That's where I got the story. Like how I passed off that blame there real quick. Yeah, I don't want to hear it from all of you that this crap didn't work. But I can tell you that it worked for me because I did go in and do it. What you want to do is you want to pull up your Facebook and go to your settings. Now, while you're in your settings page, look at the bottom of the general settings page and click download a copy of your Facebook data. It's usually the last thing you'll see on that page. This will send an email from Facebook with your archive data attached. All you have to do is open that attachment, click on the folder called HTML, then click ads.htm file. Now, all this will be in the show notes so you can go back and reference. And the reason for that is this is not an instant thing, but that's all you have to do. You'll be able to see the topics and pages that have made their way into your advertising settings. Now, like I said, some of this, like I said, it's not instant, but here's the thing. Some of this stuff is going to surprise you. Most of these have already have your phone number and addresses and chose to run an ad on Facebook to a custom audience. So, there's some different, there's a huge amount of categories. It may take some time for you to get your email, but let me give you a little insight to what categories you're going to see. I haven't gotten my back yet. It did send me a cursory email that says, hey, I know you requested this. We're working on it. We'll get it to you. All right. So here is some of the categories you're going to see info from. Active sessions, ads clicked, address, alternate name, your AKA, apps, any apps that you've clicked on or used for Facebook. Connections. So people that you've made connections with, not necessarily friends, but connections like your 6 degrees out there. You know what I'm saying? Credit cards that you've used on Facebook. That's something relatively new. Not all of us have used Facebook to purchase anything. I know I haven't. I refuse to. It even shows you deleted friends. So that son of a gun you hate, or that ex-girlfriend that you don't like anymore, is going to show up on there. Shows you events that you've been to and many, many more. I mean, there was a huge list of what they show you. A huge list, past addresses, emails, all kinds of stuff. So here's what I want from you. Go to your Facebook and download the archives. Okay. I want you to send me an email telling me the most surprising thing you found, and I'll revisit this in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight on Social Media Wednesday. We will make sure that we revisit it. So that's 14 days from now. Tonight is the 8th, so we will revisit it. See, 8 plus 14, carry the 2, that will be 22. So we'll see that on the 22nd. All right. We will make sure that we revisit this. I want you to send me the email to ray@technewsnightly.com. And in the subject line of the email, just put surprising archive. All right. And we'll revisit it. We'll talk about it. Folks, that's all the news I have for this Wednesday. Don't forget, tomorrow night is live on YouTube. It's the weekly roundup show, and it'll be a little bit longer and will be video. Okay, but I'll send out the links on the social media. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under the username Tech News Nightly. Make sure you join the Tech News Nightly group to get your group exclusive video and audio. All right, make sure you get out there and you join that Tech News Nightly Facebook group to get that exclusive stuff. Also, videos of each podcast are now being uploaded, actually, as we speak, into the YouTube channel. So go on YouTube and search for the Tech News Nightly channel. Here's the thing, guys. I don't have a custom URL yet. The reason being is because you have to have 100 subscribers. So subscribe. Get your friends to subscribe. You know, I talk about, and tell your friends, I talk about social media, mobile phones. I talk about mobile phone carriers. I got some headphone stories coming up, some, speaker stories coming up. So, here's the thing. Tell them everybody gets into tech. They may not get so delved into it that they know circuitry. I don't even know that, but I can tell you what the market is telling me. I can tell you what's good, what's bad, or what they think is good and what's bad. I can also tell you some of the trends that are happening. I also tell you the behind the scenes stuff that's going on. So they may want to hear that stuff. Plus, I always have that kind of that goofy outlook on it. But anyway, starting next week, I'll be videoing each podcast and uploading it for later views. The thing is, right now, the only thing you're getting up there is a placard. Okay. It's a daily tech news placard, basically the logo, and it's audio only. Okay. But, get over to YouTube, subscribe, like, share, do whatever. Same thing with Facebook. Same thing with Twitter. We got to get the word out that this show is out there. If you want to support Tech News Nightly with a little bit of cash, a little pledge, monthly pledge, go to my website, technewsnightly.com, click on the Become a Patron banner, and that will take you right over to where you can do that. I appreciate all the help that I can get. Helps me keep the bills paid, helps me find better hosting services, better equipment, and all that. This show is always your source for technology news. It is hosted by Ray Rideout Jr., and Matthew Passy is the executive producer. Till I see you tomorrow on YouTube Live, take care, and be good. Thank you.